Bigfoot, Bigfoot, Bigfoot. Sasquatch sightings caught on camera all over the country, from the seriously investigated to comically bad hoax attempts to quite possibly the missing link. Welcome to Parks Unseen. I'm your host, Liam Wolf. Advances in technology should make it easier to capture quality footage of cryptids, but instead, it seems to have only increased the perpetuation of staged encounters, manipulated footage, or digitally created fakes. When lacking physical evidence, there will always be controversy and mixed opinions on validity. But what makes some encounters worthy of investigation and others written off immediately? Of course, it's important to raise questions. You should never believe everything you see or hear without a deeper line of inquiry. But so-called experts get it wrong all the time about any number of things. Just because something can't be proven doesn't mean it doesn't hold truth. Just look at Galileo, the Italian astronomer who was condemned and imprisoned by the Catholic Church for his theory that the Earth revolved around the sun, or religious figures like Jesus Christ. Does the lack of scientific proof make him any less real to someone who believes? I digress, but you get my point. Truth is sometimes relative, especially in the face of a piece of evidence that might be compelling, but not beyond a reasonable doubt. Today, we're going to look at footage that falls into that category and question the court of public opinion. How do you decide whether an uncovered photo or piece of footage is an intentional hoax, a case of mistaken identity, or possibly the real thing, simply meriting a closer look? And who do you trust as a source for an unbiased investigation or an expert opinion? Let us know in the comments below. Yellowstone National Park, a place of natural wonder where visitors from around the world gather to witness the geothermal marvels and majestic wildlife that call this tranquil wilderness home. But something lurking in the shadows set the Sasquatch community aflame. In a fleeting moment caught on camera, 4 figures materialize from the depths of the forest. Their presence is both mesmerizing and perplexing as they seemingly stalk the bison in the foreground. Yellowstone spokesperson Al Nash is dismissive of Bigfoot sighting claims.
People claim to see Bigfoot in Yellowstone often, but it's happened. It's an entire hoax. People say a lot of crazy things about Yellowstone all the time. Bigfoot's just one of them.
That was pretty much the same response we got last year, when we uncovered a never-before-seen ranger report from 1974 detailing an alarming encounter with another elusive cryptid. Personally, I find this characterization to be extremely reductive. You can't just dismiss all claims as crazy or unsubstantiated without an investigation, or significant evidence might be overlooked. Despite skepticism, scientific inquiry has not been idle. In 2014, a research group led by Oxford University geneticist Brian Sykes embarked on a rigorous investigation. Samples submitted by alleged eyewitnesses were subjected to meticulous analysis. The results, however, were inconclusive and disappointing. Each sample returned as belonging to common inhabitants of the park: bears, bison, and other wildlife. And so, the search for Bigfoot's truth continues. A wildlife enthusiast named Jimmy, based out of Birch Bay, Washington, has 4 trail cameras set up on his property, which continually document the nighttime activities of the forest wildlife. Typically, he tracks the movement of owls, deer, elk, and raccoons, and shares the footage with his modest following online. But one night, this happened across his viewfinder. That alone would have been creepy enough. But according to Jimmy, Shortly after uploading this video, all 4 of his trail cameras mysteriously vanished. He's had them set up for 3 years without any issues, and then suddenly, after this unusual creature is seen in the area, his cameras disappear. Amateur cryptid hunters went crazy, with many declaring this to be some of the best footage they've seen, while others pointed out inconsistencies in what's seen in the footage versus their own preconceived notion of what a Sasquatch looks like. For example, the length of the arms and the shape of the neck. Many also mistook the salt block for a camera case and wondered why anyone would leave that out overnight. Meanwhile, locals weighed in from another angle, citing the unlikelihood of any creature of that size, let alone Bigfoot, going unseen in the area, due to the private land being heavily trafficked by hikers and hunters. Although the disappearance of the trail cameras adds a layer of mystery that I have no answers for, I do believe this is a credible witness. One look at his body of work, and it's easy to see a legitimate wildlife enthusiast who has inadvertently captured this footage. Could other cryptid hunters in the area have destroyed Jimmy's cameras after seeing the footage, in an effort to throw him off the trail? Could it be a prank from a local skeptic? Or could this be another example of a really compelling sighting that wasn't taken seriously enough? What do you think? In an episode of Parks Unseen released earlier this year, we reported on an astounding sighting in the Rocky Mountains. Shortly after posting that remarkable footage of a sizable creature moving through several feet of snow at an impossible speed, another man happened to spot a mysterious figure way up on a different mountain in a neighboring town.
Oh, I gotta leave first, but one. I'm gonna get. No, you'll be fine. I'm just gonna get more footage of the Sasquatch. Okay, seriously, look how big it is. He's just chilling. Cause look, he's on the mountain, way far back on the mountain, but look how huge he is.
Dr. Eric Rickard of the Natural History Museum of Utah gives his opinion to Fox 13 News.
What's the likelihood that there are big animals that have gone undetected by scientists and by trained observers?
Eyewitness Austin Craig responds.
You can't just see something that's maybe a once-in-a-century discovery and go do your 9-to-5 job. You got to go look for fur or footprints or some kind of evidence. Was it a bear? Maybe. That's plausible. Was it a person? Also plausible. Was it something else? I think that's also plausible. Who knows?
So, with a camera crew in tow, Austin hikes up the mountain to look for evidence.
Okay, I've got some sad news, my man.
Bear tracks?
No, boot prints all over the place. Yeah, all over. And there's a spot where it looks like something was being dragged along. I think somebody was sliding down at their butt at one point. For just a moment, I thought I'd seen something special. Doesn't that look like a wild animal? Got 4 finger indents. Fortunately, I think it was somebody climbing up. Like that's...
Are you guys stuck?
I'm really hoping I get to go look again. Maybe there's something out there to find right here in Utah, even in Provo.
It seems Austin found a reasonable explanation, although some might question the disparity in size between the tracks found on the mountain and the enormous figure seen from the town below. Austin's coordinates might have been off, landing him at a different site entirely. It's very possible these Utah sightings are linked, and this elusive creature is still out there. Maybe now, as winter melts into spring, new evidence will reveal itself.
There are lots of undiscovered things, particularly in the natural world.
Bigfoot has often been called the hide-and-seek champion, a nickname earned for evading cameras of all kinds for over 75 years. And yet, why is clear footage of a Bigfoot sighting seemingly less credible than one with blurry, shaky, or pixelated footage? Why are they written off so quickly, without any real analysis? Did you know that over 10,000 people have reported seeing Bigfoot over the past 50 years? It's become such a huge phenomenon that Oklahoma politician Justin Humphrey introduced an unusual law. You now need an official permit to hunt for Bigfoot in the area, with the offer of a $25,000 reward if you trap him. Humphrey says he hopes it increases tourism to the Ouachita Mountains. I'd say 25 grand is a pretty good incentive. Well, believe it or not, that reward has now ballooned to $2.1 million. Yes, really. Grab your boots and camo, my friends. Squatch hunting season is here. Not every sighting results in a divided opinion. Unfortunately, there are many hoaxers out there, people more concerned with their 15 minutes of fame and YouTube channel views than with actually seeking out cryptids and perpetuating the truth in their findings. And sometimes, their attempts at creating a real cryptid sighting is actually pretty comical. Here are some examples we found to be quite humorous. According to the original post, police in Alberta, Canada were allegedly responding to a chilling discovery: human remains found deep in the forest. A trail camera set up nearby happened to capture their trek through the woods after gathering the evidence, when, moments later, another presence appears. We had to take a really close look at this one. The facial features are difficult to make out, but to me they appear to be stationary, as in not moving naturally like they would on a living creature. The eyes and mouth seem to either be painted on or are simply holes in a mask. However, this clip certainly has many people fooled. Have you seen that video before? What are your thoughts? Coincidentally, shortly after we analyzed that clip, a dedicated Monster Myth fan sent us another video from the same channel, seeking our opinion on its authenticity. Take a look. Despite affirmative comments on the original post, we are compelled to share our conclusion that this footage has been digitally created. The creature is an animation. The tree branch appears to fly through the tree trunk upon impact, and there even seems to be frames missing from the digitation, apparent when the branch flies through the air and while the leaves are falling, all of which are hallmarks of artificial manipulation. What do you think? Here's another fun one from the same channel. Bigfoot materializes out of thin air. This particular Sasquatch must be the offspring of a skinwalker and a terrible editor. And finally, an old favorite. Nice try, boys. I'm hesitant to directly call out these channels. That isn't my goal here. But I encourage you to be discerning, question what you see, and never take anything at face value until you've done your research and conferred with experts. On that note, if you've come across any questionable clips that you'd like us to analyze, feel free to send them our way. On the other side of the spectrum, however, you'll find genuine Bigfoot investigators willing to give serious attention to a credible eyewitness, even if the photo or video evidence from their sighting leaves something to be desired. For example, Craig and Barb Salk. The couple led a simple life, living in a cabin in the Upper Peninsula and working part-time jobs at a Subway restaurant and a gas station, while spending the rest of their time hunting on their 80 acres of land. To increase the odds of their hunting success, Craig set up a number of trail cameras on his land. The camera automatically snaps one photo per minute, and one day in 2012, after looking through hundreds of frames and calculating his next hunt, he saw a mysterious figure in the background, one that didn't appear to be an animal or a human. Craig sent his photos to the producers of Finding Bigfoot on the Animal Planet network, and surprisingly enough, the very next morning they called and said they were coming to investigate.
Over the years, I've dealt with a lot of people that want to have a Bigfoot on their property, or they want to see a Bigfoot in a photo. They want you to see the same thing, and you're looking at it going, it looks like a blob, or it's just a dark spot. He's not one of those guys. He's just a hunter that has an interesting figure in the photo, and he wants to get to the bottom of it. He wants to know what it is. He's not saying it's a Squatch. He's wondering if it is.
They placed a new trail camera on a tree in an attempt to recreate the image and compare it to one with a human figure.
So we're not exactly sure what's in that photograph, but the possibility of it being a Bigfoot is enough for us to stick around and do a night investigation.
The investigators heard some curious noises overnight, but nothing conclusively evident of a Sasquatch. When their episode of Finding Bigfoot aired, Craig and Barb were flooded with calls from other Bigfoot eyewitnesses, becoming local celebrities overnight. They even started a convention and went so far as to open up their private land, inviting the public to explore the encounter site and judge for themselves. Although Craig passed away from cancer in 2021, the sense of community generated because of his photo will live on long after him. There's certainly value in that, but the question of the photo's origin still remains. What was it about this blurry shadow that so captivated the Finding Bigfoot team? And whether it was actually a Sasquatch or just another large mammal, why was no other evidence found on the property either way? And is that sighting really much different from this encounter in Tennessee?
Do you see that? Do you see that? I'm afraid. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Valley, do you see that? Do you see that?
Daniel Whitehead initially thought it was a friend in a costume, but says he became convinced otherwise when the creature started moving. But why does the clip end so abruptly? Daniel says he reached for a gun, and when he returned, the creature was nowhere to be seen. Others speculate he went to get his daughter to safety, even though she's nowhere to be seen or heard in the footage. Many also questioned why he wouldn't just continue filming, since the creature wasn't behaving in a threatening or aggressive manner. Many true believers were impressed by this footage, commenting on the creature's extreme physical characteristics, like the long arms, as evidence it isn't human. You've seen it all. What do you think? Personally, I'm not convinced. The figure's movement doesn't resemble that of a wild animal, more like a human in an ape suit. But considering the interest from commentators online, it's a bit surprising nobody has investigated it more deeply. And the more time that passes, the less we'll ever know. In most aspects of life, hindsight is 20/20, but how much does time really tell in the cryptid universe? Even the most recognized and deeply analyzed Bigfoot sightings in history still have unanswered questions and inconclusive evidence. The Patterson-Gimlin film, the most famous Bigfoot sighting of all. The footage continues to be analyzed year after year, perplexing and fascinating the cryptid community to this day. Stabilization, which usually helps to debunk a questionable piece of footage, has only further convinced people of its legitimacy. Is this what the hoaxers are continually trying to replicate? And crucially, if it had been faked, wouldn't we have seen a successful replica by now, considering the advancements in practical and digital effects? Several individuals with loose connections to Roger Patterson or Bob Gimlin have come out over the years, claiming to have inside knowledge of the footage on all sides of the debate. From sworn statements of legitimacy to revelations of an expensive, custom-made Sasquatch suit to shady loans and con man allegations, it seems everybody wants their payday, whatever it takes. Patterson died of cancer in 1972 and remained adamant the footage was real throughout his life. Although he might have had both the resources and the opportunity, most acquaintances of Patterson believe that neither he nor Gimlin were clever enough to execute a scheme at this level, that both men lacked the intellectual capacity essential to the production of a hoax, termed a masterpiece. In 1994, forest ranger Paul Freeman famously stumbled upon giant footprints near Duck Spring, took out his camcorder, and slowly followed the tracks to the edge of the forest, where he saw what undeniably looks like a male Sasquatch. Freeman's son recalls it vividly.
I remember coming upstairs, and here's my dad standing there, and he's shaking. I always tell people that that's the only time in my entire life that I ever saw my dad scared of anything.
Considered one of the most compelling captures of all time, Freeman spent the next 15 years pursuing more evidence, tracks, hairs, photos, anything he could find to help convince people of Bigfoot's existence. Few disputed the footage was real. They simply disputed that it was a Sasquatch. But for many of us, this captivating footage was evidence enough to clinch a belief in Bigfoot for good.
That's the only proof I'll ever need for the existence of Bigfoot, because I saw it on his face and I saw it in his eyes, and I know they're real. I think it would be great if he was still alive to see the popularity of the Bigfoot culture and its acceptance in the world that we have today.
Filmed by Lori and Owen Pate during a camping and hiking trip, the Memorial Day footage was first broadcast to millions in the TV documentary Sasquatch, Legend Meets Science. Since then, it's earned the questionable distinction of receiving the most high-tech and costly analysis of any film purporting to depict a Sasquatch. The angles of analysis are too detailed to get into here, but let me just say that the results make a convincing case for an official debunk. The Pates haven't come forward with any such admission, and probably never will. But suffice it to say, don't believe everything you see on TV. Notable for the sheer number of eyewitnesses, this footage was captured by Jim Mills during an annual youth group overnight hiking trip to Marble Mountain. Some question the footage on the sole basis of the teenagers' attitudes. They seem unafraid, unbothered, and unimpressed. But let's be honest, with teenagers, that's not very uncommon. Many think the figure in the video has a human silhouette, but the eyewitnesses filming it are very clear in disputing that theory.
That is,
Look like a person.
it does not look like a
Doesn't
person.
look like a person.
Its arms are way too big. Look at how long the hands hang down to the...
How can you see from there down to his knees?
Personally, I'm on the fence with this one. What do you think? While hiking through the Tatra mountain range, rock climber Peter Kowalski stumbled across a huge, ape-like form moving between the rocks. I find this clip to be most intriguing, as it's pretty rare for a Sasquatch sighting to be caught on camera out in the open like this. Have you seen this clip before? Although the footage is blurry, I think it definitely merits a deeper investigation. Don't you? A primate was spotted 40 yards from the road in Ketchikan, Alaska, so the driver went to investigate. Look at the size of this thing.
Oh shit, there it is again. There it is. There it is. Oh my god. Oh my god. There it is, there it is. It's right behind that tree. Oh my god, I'm tripping out, I'm shaking. Oh Jesus. Oh man. I have no idea where I went. My heart's pounding a million miles an hour.
Alaska is the last great wilderness in the United States. Of its 365 million acres, only 160,000 have actually been explored. This is due to the state's massive size and remote areas that are difficult to reach. If Bigfoot was hiding out anywhere, Alaska would be the place. What is the most credible Bigfoot encounter you've ever seen or heard about? And why do you believe it to be real? We'd love to know where your research has taken you. And if you've come across any hilariously bad attempts at fake footage, send those our way too. We might feature your submission in an upcoming episode. Email us at monstermythtv@gmail.com or drop a comment below. Thank you for joining us on another expedition through our national parks and beyond. Until next time, stay curious and keep your eyes open. In the wild, you never know what secrets may be lurking, waiting to be unveiled in the great expanse of parks unseen.